everyone. After receiving a huge response from our audience, we're excited to bring to you the second season of the Study Abroad Insight series. And this time we have more experts joining us to answer your questions. What other things would you look for in an application? Okay, so I'll get my degree from the US, and then what's going to be the return on investment for me? Could you tell us a little bit about, when we talk about rankings, for example, and accreditation, what is the importance and what is the difference also between those two things? How do I get an internship? Is it paid? You know, if it's not paid, what percentage of students have you seen find jobs? I'm your host, Dharma Nayak, and on behalf of IDP Education, I welcome you to the second season of the USA Study Abroad Insight series. Keep watching this space for more information, and I'll see you soon. Hi friends, today we're excited to bring to you the second episode in Season 2 of IDP Study Abroad Insight series for one of the most sought after destinations, the USA. My name is Dharma Nayak and I am the Associate Director for US Client Relations with IDP Education. Today we have a very special guest with us today. Welcome, Jyotsna.
Thank you.
Her name is Mrs. Jyotsna Misra. She is the Director of Kent State University India Center, and thank you for joining us today on the show.
Thank you.
So Jyotsna, can you tell us how long have you been with Kent State University?
We established the India Center in 2011, so almost 8 years now.
Okay. And can you tell our audience what exactly do you do as the director of the center and what is your role?
The primary focus is to develop visibility for Kent State University in India. Okay. Giving comfort to the students, making them believe in Kent State University, helping them to see the programs being offered, and also having parents feel comfortable having their children study in Kent State.
Okay. So Jyotsna, I know that you've been in the international education field for some time also. So how have you seen things change from the perspective of an Indian student who's looking to study abroad in the last few years?
When I joined in 2011, when I started promoting USA as a destination, we were told that it is primarily a market for masters and PhD. Right. But in these 8 years, I have seen that there has been a shift where now it is being also taken as a study destination for undergrad programs. Second thing that I noticed that it used to be destination for rich students, right? Parents who had the affordability. Not anymore. More and more students from the middle income group are coming up. They are taking loan to study in USA. So it's becoming a very wholesome place for the students to study.
Okay, that's really great to know, and we're looking forward to learning more from you today, and I'm sure that our audience will really enjoy it. And now, in your opinion, or what you have seen meeting different students and parents, what are the top 3 reasons why they choose the US as a study destination?
US always has its charm. Primarily the quality of education, cutting edge research that institutions are offering, and I think the global perspective that students get. One of the USP of US education, which I really believe in, is the approach, a liberal arts approach towards education, right? Nothing is an airtight compartment. A student could be pursuing chemistry and at the same time learning to play piano. Right. A student could be studying applied mathematics, at the same time could be dabbling into fashion. So the kind of flexibility that US education system, university systems offer is, I think, incomparable.
Absolutely, would tend to agree with you there. Now, some time ago you mentioned that the campus has been ranked as one of the safest. How would you describe the US as a whole? How welcoming is it for international students?
US is very global, right? You will find people from probably over 100 or 200 nationalities, right? That in itself speaks volume, right? Secondly, it's as safe as any other destination, right? Yes, you need to be a little careful in certain area about timing, about habits, about behavior. But otherwise, I think more or less it's a safe destination. Another statistics that supports it is the growth of international student population in last decade. The word of mouth is important. If it weren't safe or conducive, the increase in numbers of students wouldn't have taken place.
Absolutely. And how would you describe Ohio as a state? Because some students and parents might be aware about the state, others may not. So how would you describe it as a place to be for students who are studying there?
Firstly, Ohio, if I compare it to India, is very similar in the weather. Ohio enjoys lovely 4 seasons. You have a beautiful autumn, summer, and the winters can get a little tough, but it's okay, it's manageable. Secondly, if you look at the cost of living index compared to the other states, it's really lower. So the affordability factor, cost of living expenditure really goes down. It's been developing very well in shape of you look at industries, the healthcare. It is home to the world famous Cleveland Clinic. Industries like polymer, chemical, liquid crystal are very active. Because it is home to Fortune 500 companies like big names like Procter & Gamble, Ernst & Young, students get ample opportunities to go for internship, right? And it is also home to wonderful universities. So students have a choice of selecting going in for private universities or for a public universities, and most of the universities have developed campus. So the students have a choice of staying on campus housing or off campus housing. Again, it becomes affordable because most of the towns are university towns, right? So they are very friendly with the international students. Not just for Kent, for many other universities I've seen there are Indian stores, the masalas are there and the other facilities are there. So students feel pretty home in Ohio.
Okay. And some of the reasons you mentioned, like affordability, resources, growing industry, what are some other factors that students might consider while choosing the location about where they want to study in the US?
Yes. I feel that choice of destination, particularly the place, especially from an Indian perspective, is they like to go to your university which offers them research opportunities. They have choice of programs and affordability, of course. For majority of students, it plays a vital role. And one aspect that I've seen is very popular with Indian parents is if they have a relative in the vicinity. So they probably feel the student who's maybe traveling to US first time, staying away from home first time, feels very comfortable.
Yeah, definitely gives them a comfort
factor.
Yes,
absolutely.
And that brings me to my next question, which is that you as a parent also had your son study in the US and I believe is there right now. So could you share with, especially for our parents who might be watching, what was that like for you both as a parent and an educator?
Wonderful question. Okay, I'll talk to you as a mother first. Yes. My concerns were like any other parent. My 18-year-old boy, who's been protected and spoiled by mom, is going to be away, and he would need to be independent and need to look after himself. But at the same time, since I have been in this field and I knew the university to which he was going, I had a certain comfort level. Safety was not a concern. I knew there are dining services which offer healthy foods. I knew that he'll be spoiled for choices in terms of programs that he wanted. For instance, he intended to study computer science, but he's an avid musician, which I never got an opportunity here. So I was nervous, yet I was confident.
Okay, thank you. I know that must have been tough for you initially though.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember crying at the airport, and that made me, probably I was sensitive, but that made me more sensitive towards parents who have young children going. So when I started counseling when my son went to US, I would always talk on a personal note because I had experienced it personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can fully understand. Just now, when we talk about tuition fees or entry requirements, Ohio being in the Midwest would be a little bit more affordable than other areas. But generally, how do the tuition fees range, cost of living, if a student is trying to plan to study in the US? What should they think about?
Okay, cost of living is something that has a big variance in US, right? So if you're looking at a public university, probably the affordability is more. You would be paying as low as $7,000 to $8,000 a semester. And if you're looking at a private university, you could be almost paying a double, right? Now, cost of living also varies. Initially, when a student as an undergrad, you need to stay on campus for 2 years. Yes, the dorm may cost a little more. But once you're staying off campus and you are probably taking care of your needs of cooking and the other things, that does bring down your cost of living. So it may be a little expensive in the beginning, but gradually I think it evens out. And universities in Ohio, to attract international talent, have been very generous and wonderful in extending scholarships, which are like one-time scholarship, renewable scholarship, graduate assistantships, teaching assistantships, and research assistantship. So this is one factor that has again made it affordable. They are able to probably bring down the cost by almost 20 to 25%.
Right. That's really good to know. Now, when we talk about scholarships and if we talk about the admissions process, how do you evaluate, applications from students? And are scholarships that something automatically given, or do students apply for those separately? The applications are reviewed holistically, right? A single parameters is not taken into an account. There are multiple parameters that are considered. For instance, students' academic performance. If the student has shown some pro bono activity or shown leadership skills in extracurricular activities. For masters, a statement of purpose would play a vital role. It should be organic. Right? Students should be encouraged to write on their own, letters of recommendation, a resume if the student has had some work experience, and so forth, right? All these parameters are considered holistically before admitting a student. Now, whereas the scholarship is concerned, well, see, the number of applicants are more, so the student's profile needs to be competitive amongst the pool of applicants, right? Now, again, as I said, it could be academic excellence, it could be overall performance of the students that's considered. Certain universities are giving special, I wouldn't call it a scholarship, a kind of an afford. To increase the affordability, they are giving financial aid, which is could range between $4,000 to $5,000 to every freshman that is coming to study, right? So that brings down, the first flush of cost expense, that brings it down. It could be one-time cost. If you're in an honors college, it could be renewable cost. You could be doing a GA or a TA where you're paid anything between $10 to $15 an hour. And so I feel overall it does bring down the cost. Okay, thank you. Something we talked about earlier was also the flexibility and the wide variety of courses available in the US. Now, a student going from India may feel that they have to stick to maybe only one track or they're not allowed to change. So the question would be, can a student change? Is it a good idea to change your course of study? Is it allowed? If you could tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. See, as I said in the beginning, the USP and the speciality of US education is the flexibility of the education system, right? Let's take an example of an undergrad student, goes there to study probably computer science, but because he, in the first year, he does not have to declare his major, he studies various programs that could be related or not related to his major. He is exposed and he does want to change his mind. He realizes that design is his forte because he enjoys doing that in the lab. He enjoys the way the instruction takes place in the class, or probably he is thinking of getting into research. So I feel that utilize the flexibility of the education system. If you need to change your mind, if you want to something that is close to your heart, please go ahead.
I'm sure that will make a lot of students very happy listening to this. And speaking of making students happy, since you are based in India, you have an India Center here, do you offer any kind of pre-departure orientation, whether it's seminars or sessions for students before they leave India to go and study abroad, or generally is that something that universities might do for their students who are coming from here?
See, it is two-pronged in our case. We encourage all the students and their parents to connect with us on one-on-one basis, so that there are questions that they may not like to ask in a group, so they can ask us and feel comfortable. And Office of Global Education at Kent State also organizes Skype sessions, right? So the students can always connect with them, a group session or a personal session if they so desire.
Okay. And how important would you say are English test scores or other tests that students might need for admission? Because many times even IDP councils will get students saying, sir, is it really necessary? Do I really need to take that test? But what is your view on that?
See, if a department is asking for a level of education, it is not out of whims, right? They feel that it is necessary for the student to have that certain level of English in expression and understanding. That is going to help the student to perform better in the class.
Absolutely,
See, if their language skill is not up to the class standard or the peers, they are going to lag behind. Right? So it is in their interest that they should work towards it and improve and meet the requirement of language.
Couldn't agree with you more there. So can you share any success stories maybe of students you have sent from India to Kent State, any standout success stories you might be able to think of or share with our audience today?
Yeah, sure. See, I would look at it, each student has been successful in their own way, right? I've seen students who were struggling to study have really done well there and have been placed in good companies. I knew a student who was not doing very well. He couldn't get admission here he did, as you say, an engineering exam. He failed. He couldn't get into a college. So he went to US, he picked up biotechnology as a subject, he excelled, and he was picked up by Nestle, and he's gone ahead and really doing well in research. Similarly, I've seen students who have been able to extend their frontiers, perform very well, and are today working with leading organizations. So I feel that in itself is a success, that they were able to do things out of the box and have been able to realize their dreams.
Thank you. Now, Jyotsna, since you have seen life both in India and in the US through work and personal life, how would you describe the Indian community or cultural diversity in the US? So if a student is there, if they're feeling, say, a little homesick, what is around, where could they maybe get involved in so they don't miss home as much?
Here I like to say something. When Indian students go abroad, don't just seek Indian community, right? You are there to develop a global perspective, right? So it is very important to mingle, to interact with people from different nationalities. See, that is the idea of having a study abroad. Apart from that, yes, everybody feels homesick. I mean, when I go there for 15 days, I want to have dal, roti, chawal, I want to have a dosa, right? That's okay. It's important to be connected with the community, mix with them, get in touch with them online. As I said earlier, most of the universities are very sensitive to international students. So tucked away in outside campus, downtown area, they have food options, right? And if I can give example of Kent here, since I know it closely, the ISSS and Office of Global Education regularly organize coffee clubs, cookery shows, where Indian students come and display their cooking skills, the Indian food. The festivals are celebrated, and not just at Kent, I also see at other universities because I'm connected through Facebook. I always see celebrations of Holi, celebrations of Onam, there's celebration of Diwali. So, well, yes, in the beginning they could be homesick, but they need to reach out.
Absolutely. So that might be something new for Indian students if they're coming from more, say, protected environments or structured environments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you tell us a little bit about, so there might be, say, Indian restaurants or any number of restaurants or other services in the cities or the places around universities. Are any discounts or concessions there for students generally or international students?
Students enjoy a lot of discounts. They get free bus passes within the campus. There are theaters, they get discount tickets. For shows, they get discount tickets. There are always activities happening where students get free food, they even get t-shirts, and if there is a cultural evening, there is always a student pass available.
Okay.
Right? So the university understands that the students are there on a shoestring budget, and they respect that. So a lot of services are extended for them.
Okay. Now, speaking of budget, what are some tips or advice you would give to students who are planning to study in the US, whether it's related to budget, you know, what they should take with them, you know, how they should prepare to be in a kind of different learning environment also?
Yes. Firstly, I feel it is very important to know the area.
Okay.
Right? They shouldn't expect the information will be served to them on a platter. Right? It's very important. Today we are in a world of media where everything is connected. Google, you have information available. I suggest that they should understand the place where they are going, right? What is available? What is the culture? What is the weather like? So they are equipped better, they are prepared, right? What kind of communities are going to be there? Cultural communities are going to be there. Number two, you are able to get a cost of living. If you read the cost of living index, you'll be able to make out the kind of expenditure that you would incur, right? So all these things they should gain before departing for their destination. Second most important thing is I've seen students tend to kind of skip the orientation, right? If it's a 2-day show, they don't want to do the 2-day show. They do first day, meet around, and then they want to kind of explore. Interesting, they should explore. But it's very important to attend the orientation because that is where they get the knowledge. What are the banking systems, right? What are the systems as a student they need to adhere to, they need to follow. Where are the resources available? How can they get resources? And so all these things are important. An informed student will always be a better student.
Now, when we talk about orientation and information that might be given to students, oftentimes a popular question is regarding if they can work part-time on campus or off campus. Is it permitted? So could you share some information about that? And then related to that, placement support. What is that like? How is it different in the US compared to India?
Yes. Students are allowed to work in US part-time while the semester is on. There is a restriction to it. They cannot go beyond 20 hours. And when the semester is off, they can probably do 26 hours, or maybe in some state they can even do 40 hours, right? But strictly they should be looking at working on campus, right? It's very important to follow the systems. Number two, we always encourage, because working makes them proactive, makes them independent, self-confident. At the same time, I always advise the student that getting good grades is important. You should be working, but you should be balancing your part-time work along with education. Many a times I see they are so involved in doing part-time work that the grades get affected. Now, this is linked to the internship and placement. Keeping good grades, maintaining a good profile is very important, right? It's not like India where the department is going to serve you an internship or a job like this. Hello, you've been employed or you have an internship, right? They would need to be proactive, make a profile, be connected. Universities and colleges have career cells. There are certain colleges which offer professional degrees, like Kent State College of Business offers soft skill training to students. You know, what are interview skills, what are social etiquettes, how do you prepare for an interview, and so forth. Career fairs, on-campus interactive organization sessions are organized, as I said, by department, Office of Global Education, and at various levels. So it is very important for them to connect and have an outreach. Third most important factor is the alumni, right? Please be connected. Right? There are your seniors who've been there, done that. They are the ones who will be able to guide you better. If you cannot interact or go attend an alumni club meet, please be connected with them through LinkedIn, through Facebook. Be active, right? You need to be seen. So don't wait for things to happen to you. please be proactive.
Absolutely. Now, in talking about being proactive, what are some other skills you feel Indian students may generally lack and or that they should work on before they plan to go to study abroad in the US?
Sure. Most importantly, they need to understand that language is very important, right? We should always do that, right? Language is a single most connecting factor, right, in communication. So they should probably work on their skills, writing skills, speaking skills. Second factor, they should be prepared for a difference in culture, right? They are not going to be if I can say, they are going to be out of an umbrella, right? So they need to be independent, they need to understand certain things, they need to have an outreach to enjoy the kind of resources and systems that are being offered, right? This is one thing they need to prepare. Third most important factor that I tell all the students, reach out. You are having difficulties, you are having difficulties in coping with the education, you're not getting good grades, you're not able to adjust to the culture, you're feeling lonely, please reach out. I'm sure, like it happens with Kent, and I'm sure all the universities have international admissions, they have ISSS who have regular visiting hours. Please reach out to them, you know, speak up. Say that, okay, I have an issue, I have a problem, and it will get resolved. Students tend to kind of clamp up, they are nervous, they don't want to. So this is something that they really need to reach out.
Okay, so definitely networking, asking for help,
Yes.
not being afraid to ask for help,
Yes,
but definitely key
that's
things
important.
they should learn.
Very important.
So Jyotsna, you were talking about, you know, being proactive and students need to reach out and not be afraid to ask for help. How does that relate to maybe mistakes they might make when it comes to almost finishing up their degrees and thinking about post-study work? You know, what advice or what have you seen in that area?
Sometimes I find students, despite getting wonderful grades, are little wanting in skills area, right? Things like, I think once they know that they are towards internship or they are moving towards their OPT, they should be working on their skills like public speaking, presentation skills. They need to really make a wonderful professional resume, right? Reach out to university, to the department, seek professional help, because all those factors really make their profile attractive.
Jyotsna, can you tell us something about Kent State University? What is it about? Why did they start the center in the first place in India?
See, basically the center came up to, as I said, to increase the visibility in the subcontinent. India is a major market for study abroad, right? We had seen a growth in Australia, UK, Singapore. So that was the reason that India Center was established. Now, Kent has really become popular in last 8-10 years. It's been ranked as top 100 national universities. It's affordable. It's also been said as one of the safest campuses for international students in northeast of Ohio. Wide array of programs offered by Kent State. In addition to that study abroad option, Kent has its own campus in Florence.
Okay.
To attract international audience, Kent has been extended financial aid at undergrad level, and they've also been extending support for research and master's students.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now, Jyotsna, as you know, IDP, you've been working with us for some time now. We have a lot of counselors across the country, and you know, they know a lot about the basics about US education. They know Kent State quite well, but we thought we would do a little rapid fire round with you. I have a few questions for you.
Please.
I'll give you 30 seconds or less for each one.
Do I get a gift at the end of the rapid fire?
Absolutely,
Thank
absolutely. The first question is, can you tell us 3 unique selling points about Kent State University?
Affordable, safest, and compassionate.
Okay, compassionate, that's nice. So what are some high demand programs at Kent State at both the undergrad and postgraduate level?
There are many programs, but if I can name a few: computer science, mathematics, applied engineering, there is exercise physiology, business analytics, business studies, finance.
Well, you mentioned this earlier, but how safe is the US for international students? Should they be worried?
It's as safe as anywhere in the world, right? Understand the country, understand the system, you're safe. The fact as I repeat again, the fact that there has been growth in the number of international students in last decade shows that it is a safe destination, because the word of mouth really spreads well. You know, the students, the feedback they give to the future students carries a lot of weightage. So it's safe, just be careful.
And lastly, how is Kent State different from other universities?
Kent State is different because they reach out to the international students. The kind of financial aid they offers. For freshmen, there is financial aid available not on selection criteria, just enrollment criteria.
Okay.
They are there and they get certain amount every year. Kent, I find that ISSS and Office of Global Education really go out of the way to make the international students feel comfortable through organizing social activities, organizing cultural activities, appreciating and understanding the festivals of Indian students, helping them organize. They even have funds for Diwali, right? So they give funds to the students to throw a Diwali party, to create things. So I feel Kent is really a wonderful place. 2018, it got ranked as one of the health campuses, right? So they really take care of the students, whether you're looking at safety, whether you're looking at health of the students, whether you're looking at adjustment of the students. So I feel that they really reach out holistically.
Thank you, Jyotsna. I'm sure that everyone watching today will really enjoy this conversation, and we really thank you for sharing your candid information, both being in the international education field and as a parent who has sent her own son to study abroad in the US.
Absolutely.
So on behalf of the whole team at IDP, we really thank you for your time today. And to everybody else who's watching today, we hope that you have enjoyed today's episode. Do reach out to us on our website, our social media handles, and it's been a pleasure hosting you today. We look forward to seeing you again online soon. Thank you.